Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Let's do a wrist check. I've put on the 116610LV. Honestly, one of the most dynamic, beautiful, and most enjoyable watches that I've ever owned. I really love this, and it's pretty crazy that what cost me, I think retail $93.50 is now trading for over $20,000 now with the recent discontinuation of the Hulk. So that is just wild. And we're talking Rolex today. I've got my computer screen in front of me. We're probably 2 weeks out from having the studio complete, so please excuse the lighting and the sound in here. But I've got this email I want to read that I think is pretty on point. So Sal says, "Hello Bruce. With the recent launch of the new Rolex 41mm Oyster Perpetual with blue dial, how would you compare this timepiece to the Rolex Datejust 41mm with the blue dial?" Now, I've brought both of the models up in front of the configurator, on Rolex's website so we can compare these. So this is the new Oyster Perpetual 41 that was recently announced and is just starting to hit stores around the globe. And Rolex went with a few traditional, more elegant versions like the Sunray Black, the bright blue, and the silver with the gold accents or the gilt accents. I think those look very elegant and sharp. But they also included some very bold colors with the yellow, with the green, with the turquoise, which, oh my goodness, guys, this turquoise looks very enticing to me, as does the yellow. I can't wait to see these in person. I think this is an awesome move by Rolex. And then this coral red, which to me looks more like a blood orange, looks very bold as well. So anyways, guys, I'm getting sidetracked here. We're looking at the bright blue. I think this is a great release, but what's the difference? Why would anybody buy a Datejust 41 with the smooth steel bezel, the polished center link oyster bracelet for $7,650 when you can buy the OP for $5,900? That's a good question. Let's talk differences at first. The big one, I believe the cases are a little bit different. They look similar, especially if we go back and forth here. But the lugs are a little bit more curvaceous and dainty looking, in my opinion, on the Datejust. The bezel looks wider, especially with the smooth bezel. It's less conical like the Oyster Perpetual 41. So the profile on wrist, I would say, would likely wear a little bit more diminutive. The hue of the blue will be different between the two. This looks a little bit more royal, in my opinion, and this one has a bit more of the red hue to it. Not quite purple, but definitely a different hue of blue. And the date is nice. You know, that's a very practical feature on an everyday watch. I will say the finishing, though, with the bezel being polished, the tops of the lugs being high polished, and the center links being high polished, this would really be a scratch magnet, if I'm honest. My not Datejust, I don't own a Datejust. My GMT Master 2 has polished center links, and really you see the wear and tear very easy. It looks more elegant, a little bit more dressy with the polishing, but you definitely see the wear. And so this Datejust 41, honestly, I'm not interested in this watch. It looks a bit more casual, but if I'm buying a Datejust, guys, if I'm buying a Datejust, I'll tell you exactly what I'm doing. I'm not going with the smooth look. I'm going with the traditional white gold fluted bezel. I think this is fantastic. And I'm going with one of the most comfortable bracelets on the market, the Jubilee. I know the retail price jumps up to almost $10,000, and likely I'm going with either this light blue with white gold Romans. The Wimbledon I think is beautiful, but most likely I would go with the black dial. This thing pops like nobody's business. I think this is what I would want if I'm shopping for a Datejust, which makes the OP a completely different watch. And the prices are different, and I think each one of these could coexist in the same collection without overlap. But if we're going with the smooth dial with the polished center links, I don't see why anyone would buy that when you have the OP41, which to me encompasses a more casual approach to an everyday watch. I think this one would be the way to go, even though we have brushed links, a little bit wider, 21 millimeter lug width. I think this looks great, especially with the double applied markers. Excuse me, let's zoom in. I mean, look how nice this looks. I think this is very, very sharp. Great movement, longer power reserve. The finishing on the movement is a bit more industrial with the brushing. I mean, it was never a very sophisticated looking or finished movement, but I think it just looks a bit more industrial now, and it is a great, it's a great movement, and well received in my opinion. But yeah, you look here at the specs, the water resistance, the twin lock crown, the screw down crown. I think this is an awesome buy. So I would suggest, Sal, go with an OP41 if you want something more casual, and if you want something that has a date that's a bit more dressy but in the same size, I would go all out and get the traditional looking Datejust. To me, this is the Datejust. The smooth bezel and bracelet, it's okay, especially on the 36, but it's on the 41. This is what I want, and this is what I would suggest. And I think this is what could coexist with an OP41. So just in closing, guys, let's go back to the configurator, OP41, and let me tell you, I cannot wait to see the turquoise blue and the yellow in person. I mean, the renderings look nice. Take a look at this dial right here. You guys can see such a bold color, and it looks to be a bit more of a matte or lacquered look as opposed to the sun ray of some of the other versions. And then the printing of the branding is dimensional. There's some reflectance to it. Same with the indexes for the hour and the minute hashes. I really can't wait to see this. I could absolutely see myself buying one of these. And we'll close on one final note here that I think, you know, it's important. Previous to this release, there really wasn't anything over 40 millimeter in size that was relatively affordable. Like if you look at the main suspects, yeah, you have the Datejust 41, but if you're to buy it as I believe you should buy it, you're spending $10,000. You're looking at the Sea Dweller, which is an $11,000 retail watch. You're looking at the Deep Sea 44 millimeter, which is well over 10,000. And then what else? We have the Yacht Master 42 in gold. We have, well, it's now discontinued, but we did have the Date 8 in 41. And then there's one escaping me, guys. Brain freeze. The Polar was, the Explorer 2 was the most affordable over 40 millimeter diameter sport watch that you could buy. And I believe retail price on that was either $84.50 or $89.50. So the fact that Rolex is giving us a 41 millimeter watch that's essentially a sport piece and it's under $6,000, I mean, this is a value proposition for Rolex. I know $6,000 is quite a bit, you know, that's quite a chunk of change for a lot of us, myself included. But man, this is bold. This has value. This is exciting, and I think it's a great move. So I'm excited to see what they do. I'm more excited about the Oyster Perpetual 41 than I would be with the Datejust outside of a few of these color combinations like the Wimbledon and the black. I think you know, I've seen these in person. These are very, very beautiful watches. But great question, Sal. I think I don't think you're missing anything. I think you've nailed it here. There's quite a bit of difference in retail price, but I think the new OP41 is going to be more desirable when you're comparing those two that you referenced here. Now, one more thing as we close, availability. I mean, it's even hard to get a Datejust 41 these days, depending on the configuration. And I believe the OPs, I'd like to hope that they're more attainable, that they're going to be making more of them, but I have no idea. My authorized dealer doesn't have any of the new stuff in yet, and they hopefully will get stuff in this month, but you know, we really don't know. It's not up to them when they get merchandise and how much of each watch that they get. So guys can get very frustrated with Rolex, with the availability, with the supply and demand, but don't take it out on your ADs. It's really not their fault. hopefully it's available, and if you're in the market for a watch, you're able to purchase one in a timely manner. I really hope that's the case. So thanks for the great email, Sal. Thanks for being with me today, guys. Let's discuss it in the comments. Reach out with any questions. I hope you guys have an awesome day, and I'll see you in the next video.